Welcome to the Power of Design podcast. My name is Jack Osa. I'm an architect, born and raised in Colombia, South America. Years ago, I migrated to the United States to follow my dreams. And today, I'm the founder and principal of Osa Studio, a multidisciplinary architectural design firm in Charlotte, North Carolina. In this podcast, we talk about design, business, creativity, and the inspiration we need to create an exciting and powerful built environment.
In this episode of the Power of Design podcast, Kristina Held shares how her multicultural education across Belgrade, Germany, and the United States shaped her foundation in technical design and construction. She reflects on her commitment to sustainable architecture, her preference for passive house over LEED, and her unique ability to bridge art and engineering. Listen to discover how structure, intention, and innovation can elevate every design decision.
Kristina, welcome to the Power of Design podcast. How are you today?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing good.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here. We met, when did we meet? I don't even remember.
A couple of years ago, maybe even 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah.
So I know you're a local architect like myself, and
Yes.
I've seen some of your work, which is nice. And I wanted to have you over and learn, about you, your life, and your business.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool.
Thank you.
So why don't we start by just telling me a little bit about your story? Where are you from? Where did you grow up? And that journey that took you to where you are today.
Yeah, it's a long journey. Time flies. So I'm born in Bar. That's in Montenegro. That's former Yugoslavia.
Okay.
That sits on the Adriatic Sea. It's right across from Italy. There's actually a town in Italy that's called Bari. So we are right across.
How do you spell it?
Bari. B-A-R. Just
B-A-R.
3
Wow,
letters.
I've never
Yes.
heard of that name.
Yeah. It was in Latin. It was Antivari because it's across from Bari.
Okay.
So Bari is the Italian town. Bari is in Montenegro, and they're right across the Adriatic Sea. Beautiful
Nice.
area. So I grew up there and in Germany. My mother is German. My dad was from Montenegro. So we grew up in both countries, bilingual. And growing up, really always liked being outside with pets and,
Nice.
growing stuff. So
Yeah.
I always loved nature and being outside, and like anything that's alive, I would nurture,
Yes.
so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's sort of carried into my work now. But yeah, from there, we moved to Serbia, finished high school there. And then I studied in Belgrade at the University of Architecture for 4 years. And then we moved to Germany. There, I got my degree in architectural engineering. From there, I moved to the United States. And then I worked here for 2 years. And then I went for my master's so I can get a license here, because I always wanted to have my own practice.
Yes,
And to do that in the US, you really need to be a licensed architect.
that's right.
So then I thought, well, if I get a master's, then I could potentially teach as well. I was interested in teaching for a while. So I
Nice.
got a master's in architecture at UNCC. And they are focused on organic architecture, sustainability. Yeah, and then when I went into private practice after that, I just continued with that.
Nice.
Yeah.
What would you say are the biggest differences between studying in, Germany and Europe versus studying here? How do they teach? How do you learn?
Yeah, it is definitely different, but I'm not sure if I'm a good candidate to speak on it, because I took the early education in Belgrade, and then I took the later master's education in the United States.
Right.
So when I compare that, it might not be apples to apples, but in Belgrade, it's a very technically oriented school. What I really love there is that it gives you a basis for construction drawing. So it teaches you a skill, and it teaches you design and history all together.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. Like, you'll have 12 exams each year. So, which is like insane, because,
Yeah.
in Germany, they don't have that many. But it's nice because, for example, stairs.
Yes.
So you come in as a first-year student, and what they do is they give you, do a wood stair, do a steel stair, do a concrete stair, do a precast stair. How can the stair be bare? It can be attached to the wall, cantilever out, it can have a middle rib. You learn essentially all basic the typology of stairs,
Yes.
a typology of railings, and you draw that all by hand.
Wow.
Then you do that for roofs, you do that for walls, for foundations, and that gives you such a good base. Because then when you go and work in Germany, when you go in the United States, you see a detail, you immediately know what it is.
Right.
Because you learned the pure basics of it. So I really appreciated that education. And then in Germany, I was a little bit further along. So there you did detailing and the technical aspects more related to your actual project. So they might have already done that previously, so I'm not sure. So there it was very detail specific for your studio project, so that you basically do know how to construct the design, which is useful. So you know the material. And then when I came here, it was in my second year, especially in the United States, I did a purely theory work. I did organicism in the crystal chain letters, which is German expressionism from 1919 to 1921, which is very niche, very specific. And I really enjoyed it because I could read in English, in German. I read philosophers and sculptors and artists. It was really, really a fun year. So I was just writing because I did so many studios before that I just, focused on that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So
and in Germany, were the classes in German?
Yes, of course. Yes. Yeah. It was all in German. So you learn all the technical language in Serbia, and then you move to Germany, and it all starts over again. So what is that? And then you come to the United States, and then you're like, oh, now I need to all of that again, but in English. So yeah.
So it's well known that Germany is very technical, and you see all this innovation, cars, machines, and such a small country, and it's just I don't know what is it. It's the way they think, and maybe the problem solving. It's very interesting, creating machines, things that are very technical, very specific. Why do you think that's happening in Germany?
Well, I work here with a lot of German clients, and they are all in producing machines mostly, right? But you mentioned a couple of machines.
Yes.
So I went and visited their factories in Germany. And what I realized is that they are very well organized, extremely well organized. I worked in an architectural office there too.
Okay.
So the organization makes the workplace function very well. Nobody is stressed. Nobody is overworked. I'm saying this now. I'm sure they're overworked and stressed people in Germany too. But when you go there, as a general rule, everything has its place. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do, when, and the schedules are done in a manner that you can actually achieve it in a reason. It's not like, we have to do it in 2 weeks and then scramble. So I think the skill to just organize properly and adequately to the goal is like gold. I mean, that really is good. Yeah.
That's
optimize
really cool.
Work processes. I know you're into that as well with your company. So
well, I should have been German.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've worked with maybe a couple of German clients, and I love how they think. Very decisive, fast.
Yeah.
They trust our work. Like they if they take a quick look. They scan it. Okay, looks great. Next one. Keep going. Very efficient.
Very efficient. Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, you graduated here from your master's, and tell me a little bit about your experience here.
Working here? Or just, So I worked with a small company when I started out here. That was my first job. And I learned a lot in that job. They did schools and university work. And I basically learned all the basic construction types here, which were very different than what I was used from Europe. But you can adjust if you have a good basis. But I felt very bored with the work because it was government work. It was public school work. And I was like, okay. And that's what basically, I thought I would never go back to school. You know, you're so happy when you graduate. And I was like, I want to go back to school. I want to do something fun. This is like, you can't do anything fun. Everything gets VE'd.
Right.
You can't do anything. Like back then, that was in 2000. I was trying to put some light shelves on a CMS school.
Yes.
And they were like, what is this? And I'm like drawing a section. Look, the light comes in, it bounces deep into the classroom. And they're like, no.
No, thank you.
just no, thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah, I can understand. And I can relate how sometimes one of the things that I admire about, United States and the progress and the system and being a developed country is also how they make things happen, at a grand scale and fast, all the way projects are managed and very big projects, and they make it happen. And efficiency is part of that. But I think there is a point that the efficiency becomes so overpowers everything that is the only and most important thing. And then, the experience of architecture is not that important, or, quality of details. Yeah. I see it in just regular home construction. When these developers, they come and they build 500 houses. And you look at those floor plans, and they have not been designed by an architect, or it was like probably 20 years ago, and they're just repeating that over and over again, and they have no storage. The spaces have weird proportions. The rooms are strange. It's so inefficient. But they make them so cheap because it's so optimized that a lot of people have access to housing, which is great.
Yes, that is great.
They otherwise they couldn't do it. But when you look at the house, in 5 years, that house already looks bad. The siding, it's, the coloring, and inside is just the most efficient thing. Wood studs, sheetrock, some siding, shingles, and done.
Yeah.
So it's they think it got to a point where they're sacrificing the experience of the architecture, because it doesn't have to be like that.
No.
You can design a nice basic home.
Yeah.
Without having those limitations.
Yes, you definitely can. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that is an issue, I guess. It is an issue with single family, also how they are laid out on a site. They are usually very remote. Mm-hmm. There is no consideration to the street. That's getting better, though. There are some trees on the street. There are some sidewalks you can see now.
Yeah.
But as a general rule, it's a very isolated way of living too, in a way, because you're, just go to your house and you stay there.
Yes.
So those older suburbs, they didn't have any community space, just like a playground for kids. Uh-huh. That's all I mean by community space. It's nothing fancy, right? I did a lot of master planning when I worked at ODA for a while.
Yeah.
And I remember there was just some leftover piece that was close to like a retention pond. And I thought, let's put a playground there. And they all looked at me like,
you crazy?
And they were like, they liked it. They were like, oh, I'm like, wow, nobody did that, right? Yeah. But,
that's cool.
If you're a mother and you have kids and you're like, wouldn't that be nice, that you don't have to organize play dates every day, but you can actually just go out and see who's playing, and then they can just, it's just a normal thing, right?
Yeah, that makes
and those
a lot
things
of sense.
Don't cost a lot of money. It's just to think a little bit about it. How we like to master plan because of it, because it sort of sets the tone for the community, and then that can trickle into the architecture as well. Yeah.
So you're drawing boring schools and you don't like it. What do you do next?
Well, I go do my master's, and then I wanted to go into teaching. But I almost did, but it didn't work out because I started a family. So I would have to move to the university. So I was like, no, let's not do that. So I stayed, and I actually was teaching for a while. at Queen's University, at the Art Institute. I taught there between 5 and 7 years, something like that, as an assistant professor in both schools in interior design.
Oh,
And
nice.
so I learned a lot about interior design there. I taught like all the histories, which I like anyway, and then a lot of the architectural stuff, like for interior designers, how to detail millwork, how to do residential layouts for houses,
Yes.
how to do restaurant design, hospitality, all of that.
Nice.
So that was fun. Yeah, so I did that, and then I got bored of that too a little bit.
I think I'm seeing a theme here in your life.
Well, I missed the profession. I missed talking to engineers. I missed, building something, producing, actually seeing things getting built.
Yeah.
So I started my own company back then. That was in 2013. And that was Grün, Sustainable Architecture and Design. And I was going to focus only on exclusively green sustainable architecture.
Yeah.
Which was back then, nobody did that back then. I'm not sure that anybody does it now. It's a little bit dangerous because then you sort of get excluded from any normal work, right? Because they think, immediately expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which isn't true. It's just that we want to do things in approaching it from a different standpoint.
Yeah.
Actually, do grading a little bit differently and do house design a little bit differently, or building design in general. So then I merged that company with Insight Architects, and I was a partner there for 11 years.
Okay.
And just this year in March, I branched out of there and now have Held Architecture, which is, I've been doing the same thing pretty much all through mixed use, office, master planning, passive house design. And also we did a little bit of Living Building Challenge, and we did LEED certification. So we do a little bit of everything. Yeah.
Nice.
But not only certifications. It's mostly about a holistic design approach.
Sure.
And yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about the certifications? Because, you do green building and sustainable architecture. You don't need a certification, but I know that exists here, and LEED was huge years ago, and then they come up with new ones, and then there is another one. And I remember a time where everybody wanted LEED, and they just wanted to pay so they can have the plaque, but they don't really care about sustainability. They care about the plaque. And it was all this thing that everybody was so excited, but I think that it's not in the profession anymore. But what do you think about that approach to sustainability when now you have to put these labels on it?
I think LEED helped a lot with setting a guideline of what we should pay attention to when we design a sustainable building. They came up with these categories in the beginning that it's important where you build. You got points for being close to public transportation, for revitalizing a brownfield, and then for more efficient use of the site with how did you handle your water, how much could you do through bioswales or rain gardens or things which are really nice features. And then all the way down to mechanical equipment and efficiencies, energy efficiencies, and commissioning. So then now they also have LEED maintenance, so you have to maintain the credential and so on and so forth. LEED also looks at materials. They look at a lot of stuff, and you should look at all of that as an architect. LEED is very expensive. It's very cumbersome as an administration item.
Yeah.
So I did LEED certification, and it's you really feel like an administrative person.
Yes.
All you do is collect documentation. You put it in a binder. You have to have proof for everything. And in the field, the contractor needs to basically appoint a person that will just take pictures of what's actually getting to the site. All the submittals, everything has to be logged. So that documentation and the documentation aspect of it takes a lot of time. It's very cumbersome, and that's what makes it expensive.
Yeah.
Not to say that it's bad. Another thing that they don't pay attention to as much, why we switched a lot to passive house now, is because they don't look at the envelope as much as passive house does. So passive house is for an architect much more friendly, because what they do is they review your construction document set and your energy model. So I basically get a third party reviewing my details, which is wonderful. That's
right.
great value for me.
Yeah.
LEED doesn't really do that. They look at the documentation, right? So passive house doesn't look at materials. They just look at energy efficiency, and they look at, for example, the vapor movement through the wall. That you're gonna get anywhere condensation, they get anywhere potential for mold, because those they are very airtight structures. But the energy model, you don't send a report, you send the entire energy model, and they will actually correct it based on the field. They did that for us last time, and I was really impressed. You can call them as if they were like your consultants. You call Fios up, they'll have a meeting with you, and you say, look, I'm trying to balance this area, it's not working, and they're like, try this, try that, and have you tried? So it's really, really helpful. It's a very open community of architects, engineers that really want to genuinely help you. There's like no competition. I really like feel at home there. I went to one conference and I was just amazed that everybody was so friendly, and they geek out on stuff too, so I do that too a little bit, but but very helpful, very and very, for an architect, just really, what are you actually building, like where is the tape going, how are you installing? It's like very specific, and then it gets tested, of course. So you also work with the fuse rater, who comes in and actually does a blow-door test. They look where the leakage is. They look if the mechanical equipment is fine-tuned and actually performs. And then you can see how much energy it actually uses. So we got a full certification on a house in Davidson. It was 5,700 square feet, pretty big house for a passive house. But they are actually a net energy producer now. Wow. So back then we weren't sure, and we just went for basic FIOS. But when you look at their actual, the end result, they actually produce electricity in a year. They are not lacking at all. So
that's awesome.
Pretty good. Yeah.
And is that only for like single family houses?
No, it's not. That's a very tricky name, because it's not passive and it's not house. It comes it comes from Germany, Passivhaus, which they did the first one in the 70s, I think, in Darmstadt. There was one experiment, and then the actual certification, I think, comes from 1991. Okay. And that started with the house. But you can do anything. Like Cornell did their new dormitories it's a huge tower in New York City. That's a passive house certified building. Wow. So New York does a lot, New York City and New York State, because it's very good for harsher climates. Here in the South, our energy bills are not as high because of the climate, but also because energy isn't as expensive as it is up north yet. Yes. So then if you do passive house and you invest in your envelope, you get a much quicker ROI, a return on investment, than you do here. Yeah. So there's a lot of interest. They also couple it with affordable housing. For example, in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia does that, Chicago, New York City. So if you want, if the developer wants incentive, they get funds for affordable housing. They get it only if they actually build to a passive house standard. So there's that. So for the passive house certification, because you said our certification's worth it, this one is because it's not expensive. You get a third-party review. You get and you get a benchmark for everybody involved. So the architect, the engineer, the contractor, the client. If we all agree we are going to make this certification, then we are all working towards a very objective goal. Like if you say, oh, you're going to make this sustainable, it's very easy to say, oh, well, we want to do this. And then the next person says, well, we don't want to do this. Why would we do it? Like, would work just as fine. And that's probably true. It will work just as fine. But to what standard do you want to do it? So certifications are good, in my experience, only for actually reaching a standard, because otherwise you have no means to actually hold people accountable and to check it. So that's works well for that.
What do you think about here in United States? To get a permit, we need to meet building code, right? So building code is like the minimum, and building code has some requirements. Yes. So how bad or how good are those requirements on what you think should be the standard of good construction, sustainable construction?
They are actually pretty good. I think they are pretty good. So the energy code, there's like, you can, do the comp check, which basically anything passes through the comp check. It would be hard pressed to not pass the comp check. Yeah. But you can also do the prescriptive. And I've done that on buildings. And it is very good, actually. You always have continuous insulation. You have insulation all above deck.
Yes.
Those are very good standards already. They have good solar heat gain coefficient, good U values, decent, really decent. And they would be more. If you would follow the prescriptive, you would get a better building than if you just do the minimum, squeak by, like you say, with the comp check, because comp check is allowed, right? So, and you can do it by 99 or something, Azure 90.1, which is like ages ago. It's like 20, I don't know. I don't know exactly, but it's like a long time ago. So you can use that to sort of, but if you wouldn't and you just go to the current code and go prescript, it would be, and do assembly by assembly and read what's actually in the table and actually use that. Those are pretty good.
Yeah, I've noticed how even when they started, when they added the rigid exterior insulation continuous, which I don't know when was that, maybe 10 years ago. I think that's when I realized that, now this is getting now serious.
Serious.
Yeah, because it's more difficult to do. There wasn't the technology to do it. There are a lot of materials. Now it's easy, because you have all these products where you can do it, and the ziggers and all these things.
Yeah.
But I think that was a good one. I have always thought that the weakest part of the system is the intersections. So,
yes, that's definitely.
When the floor hits the wall
definitely.
or the roof.
Yeah.
There's always the construction methods we use. There is like a beam, and then you need to tuck in insulation, and it's just a little
There's
bit.
no room to tuck.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you need to come up with like very clumsy details to make it work.
Yeah.
That's what I think sometimes the problem is. And just sometimes in those corners are gaps. So, there is leakage, there's opportunities for water intrusion.
Yeah, that's why exterior insulation is really good. So in Passive House, we even do underslab insulation. Yep. So that's something that's usually frowned upon in our climate, like we don't need it.
Yeah.
But it does give you, the ground is the same temperature, but it will always siphon off because it's colder in the winter than what you want it to be inside. So you're leaking through the ground, not as much as through the roof, but you are still leaking. So you just put a little bit, like a 2-inch XPS under, and that goes all the way around the footing, all the way up the wall and around the roof.
But do you go all the way under the slab, or just like 4 or 5 feet?
For Passive House, we go all the way under the slab. Yes, you can do that too. That's you can go at 2 feet or whatever that is. Yeah, you
I've
can
seen
do that
details
too.
from other states where they do 2-3 feet. They stop right there.
Yeah.
The Power of Design podcast is brought to you by OSA Studio, a multidisciplinary design firm focused on creating impactful experiences through the power of design. We partner with our clients to create buildings, interior spaces, brands, and strategies that help you deliver a successful project. As a minority-owned firm, we are committed to building a diverse platform of curious and driven design professionals so we can together pursue our full potential. For more information, please visit us at www.osastudio.com.
Okay, so tell me about your projects. What kind of projects do you work on? What do your clients get when they're working with you?
Well, we have a wide variety of projects. So we have the single family passive houses. We have maybe 1 to 2 a year. So then we create really good relationships with clients, and those relationships will last for years because it takes a while to design it and then to build it, and then once they are in it they might need something. So those are really rewarding relationships and projects. Then we have a lot of upfits, so that would be another category. Those are really fast projects. Then we have master planning and bigger community projects, which usually clients come that are already interested in what we do in terms of sustainability and connecting it to the existing urban fabric, getting good lighting into the apartments, things like that. Also efficiency, we are pretty efficient in how we lay those out, so they are pretty, dense and you get a good efficiency per full plate. So those are our bigger projects. And then we work on office industrial, and those could be either renovations, additions, upfits, or ground up. And those are usually with foreign companies. So that's fun too, because they usually bring a different aesthetic, because they're usually from Europe or from Italy, Switzerland, Austria, Germany. So they have also a different idea about quality of construction.
Yeah.
And then me having worked in both places, I can bridge that gap, because they would like something that they see in Germany, but here it's like astronomically expensive.
Yeah.
So then you have to find the next best thing and make it work. But yeah, so that's about what we work. So mixed use, upfits, master planning, bigger like mixed use developments. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you work in Revit, or what tools do you use?
We work exclusively in Revit, and we also use SketchUp.
Nice.
We use Lumion for renderings, and that's pretty much it. In CAD, if we need anything to do like site planning, maybe in CAD. And I do a lot by hand too. So I use my iPad quite a lot, and I'll do something in SketchUp or in CAD or from Revit, and then I'll sketch over it. And that's how I work.
What app do you use to sketch?
What is it called?
I use Procreate.
Yes, it's Procreate.
Yeah,
yes,
it's really nice.
It's Procreate.
Yeah, I went
has
to-
the layers and everything.
That's right,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
layers.
yeah, yeah.
It looks like tracing paper.
Yeah, yeah.
I used to use one called, I think it was Monograph.
I did try Monograph. It's too precise, maybe.
Yeah, no, and it had too many tools.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
hard to.
Yeah.
I could never get a handle of that one.
Same thing. It was advertised for architects, so I tried
Yes,
it.
yeah.
Beautiful things come out of it, but I wasn't able.
No, it wasn't
I didn't have
very
the
good.
patience
I don't think
for
it
it.
exists anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then I switched to one called Notability,
Oh, I don't know that. One.
which is super nice, but it doesn't have the layers. That's the
Oh, don't
problem.
know that
So
one, yeah.
every time I had to do something, I will need to go to another page and redo it, and until I found Procreate, and that's amazing. And in Procreate, people do amazing things.
Yes,
you know, they
they
photorealistic and incredible. I mean, I just do lines and quick
Me
stuff,
too, yeah.
but it's a very powerful tool.
Yeah, I use it like markers, pencils, ink, and
Yeah.
like the sketch paper. That's basically how I use it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. We're doing so I just bought the Oculus Meta 3 to do VR tours,
Okay.
because we have done
It's really cool.
we use for renderings, we use Enscape. I think it's similar to Lumion. And Enscape it's a German product. Enscape is German. And about maybe 2-3 years ago, a huge company bought them, Chaos Group. I think they even own Lumion. They own pretty much every single rendering company.
Yeah.
And so they started investing a lot of money, and it's getting incredible. And Escape has been awesome for us. And I started using it about 7 years ago, and I was already doing VR renderings.
Oh,
7
very
years
nice.
ago.
We haven't done that.
Yeah.
yet.
So with the new one, what I'm trying to do is now do the walkthrough. So the client has the headset. We can be here and we can walk through the project.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you
And-
think that's expected now by clients that they want that they?
I don't know if it's expected, but for me, it has been a great tool to sell the design, because it's a different thing to show,
Yeah.
you know, a floor plan.
Yeah. Of
People
course.
are imagining space, or even a rendering, which is a picture of space.
Yeah.
But when now your brain is experiencing a space, and when they see it, everybody always says the same thing. They're like, wow.
Yeah. They're just impressed by the technology,
big-
probably too.
Yeah,
So
well, it's
yeah,
just how
yeah.
come I'm experiencing a space and it's not real, and it's incredible.
How much time does it take you to make that walkable? Or
Your
is it
Revit
just- yeah.
Revit model,
Yeah.
you're already modeling. So if I don't want to put too much time, I just do a basic black and white rendering, which you still in there. You know, it feels really good, or gray tones. If I want to spend more time, we can add materials and real materials. Scan it, put it there, and then Enscape is a plugin to Revit, and you start it and create the rendering right away. So most of the work is already done. It's just export there. It's a 3D PNG.
Okay, and that's then walkable with the.
That one is just from one point of view.
Okay.
But then what I'm working on, because I bought it like...
But you can look around.
Yes.
Is that you're standing in a point, but you can look up and...
look 360 degrees.
Oh, that's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah. I'll show you. We have some.
That's very
And now,
cool.
but I wanted to do the other one, which is the one I just got, but I haven't had time to work on it because there's a lot of settings that you need to have right. And I'm thinking I may need to buy a new computer because it's very demanding. Yeah, maybe having a dedicated tower just to do that.
Can you do it in the cloud? No?
Maybe. I think
Then
that's going to be the next step.
Yeah, a lot of renderings happens in the cloud, so you don't have to have that capacity here. It doesn't bog down a whole computer.
Yeah.
No, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm like always old-fashioned. I'm like, here is a beautiful sketch.
That's okay.
That's okay. Yeah. But it's amazing. Yeah.
Nice.
What you can do.
What would you say are the skills or qualities that make you good at what you do?
Oh, that is a tough question. Well, I think I'm a good listener. That will be one. And I'm very creative in making the best out of what you are giving.
Yeah.
And I really like to take in all of the constraints and then still make something creative.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm really good at that.
And why do you think you're like that?
I like that because I care about the product, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want anything, I want to know everything that's restrictive right away, and I want to work with it, versus just designing something really cool, which doesn't fit the budget and it doesn't fit the client.
Right.
So I really want to make it work.
Yes.
And I think that challenge is really intriguing to me. I like it. Yeah, if the site is difficult or the budget is tight or the client has some crazy expectation, and then this is a good challenge. Let's see how we can problem solve this and make it look really good as well. Yeah.
So I always see how architecture, is art, technique. Mm-hmm. You have art on one side and technique on the other side, and then you have a line that connect both, and that slider, every architect feel lands somewhere. Mm-hmm. There's some that are all design and just want to create a great experience, but not technical. There are other more technical, middle. Where do you think you are in that line?
I'm probably in the middle because I use the technical stuff and the codes and all of it to get the creative over the line. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
So I use those tools to get to a very good design. But ultimately, I'm interested in the outcome as a good design. Of course, there's the function. It doesn't have, the walls shouldn't leak and all of that as well. But that's sort of a given. But then, I use them as tools. So early on, I realized that if you're not good with codes and permitting, which sounds very boring and very technical, it can really mess up your design. Like if you put windows on a property line, and you weren't supposed to put them there, then suddenly they go away and you're like, Or if you're way over budget, then your project gets completely derailed. Yeah. But if you are close, and if you start with that, then you have a really strong design and a really good concept. So even if it gets stripped and value engineered, the bones are good and it can move forward as a good design, as a good solid design. And so I pride myself in that is what we are doing. So always good. Yes. No matter what.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
There are many things that are good about practicing in United States, but I think we see all kinds of different architects.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see some set of drawings that I'm scared. Like, I cannot draw this like this. How come somebody can do so little and charge for that? Like drawings that are very incomplete.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this is interesting. I saw a set that was produced for, I think, Saudi Arabia, one for Europe.
Yeah.
I can't remember the country. It's France or Germany or something like that. And then one from the United States. And you guess what the set had the most pages in it? The most detail. United States, yes. Yeah. And I would have not guessed that. I would have thought it was Germany, but it wasn't. It was the United States. It was by far. Everything here gets detailed.
Yeah, because
it's liability too.
But it's bulk. But go look at the quality.
Yeah.
if you can build the building well built with 10 pages,
Yes.
why do you need 35 pages?
Because
of
a lot
fluff?
of that happens on the site where the knowledge is, right? How
Yes.
yeah.
That's right.
But it's also liability. Like if you don't have this membrane in here, if you don't have that, if you don't have it right, just like that, then it wasn't in the drawings, and I'm not
Yes.
going to put it in, right? So there's
Yeah.
that.
I'm sure a lot of that is just liability, and people think that they're gonna get sued, which that's a lot of what we do with meeting building code and ADA is based on somebody scared that they're gonna be sued for something.
Yeah, or public projects. If you do work on public projects, everything has to be laid out because it's part of the legal document, right?
Yeah.
In specification and on the drawings. So really, if it's not there, they can do a change order. They can request. So that's
I think
it's legally binding. Yeah.
The more I practice, the more I simplify my drawings, make them more just drawing what's needed.
Absolutely.
No more, no less.
Yes.
Dimension, just what needs to be dimensioned.
Exactly.
You know, a junior person, you always realize because they dimension the whole thing all the way down to the other wall.
Even what's existing. I'm
Yes.
like, I don't know
Yes.
what's existing.
And
I just skip that
construction
part.
is not perfect.
Yeah,
They're not
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
make it perfect.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
fluff somewhere, and
The plus minus.
yes,
Yeah.
or having things by others or something like
Oh,
that,
yeah.
or deflecting the responsibility to the GC.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, no, don't leave that on them. We need to solve it. Yeah, there are many things like that you realize with experience.
With
as
experience,
you build
yeah.
projects and projects, you know what to communicate, what people understand. And it's interesting because we do all the drawings, we talk to the contractor, but we almost never talk to the subcontractors. Maybe when you do a walkthrough or they're there, but they're the ones really building it. When your drawings, they go to 10, 15, 20 different subcontractors, and they all have their own piece, and they start trying to
Sometimes we do. It
make
depends
happen.
what it is. Yeah, if they're doing something and they need me to. Yeah, that did happen. They'll connect. The contractor will connect you to the sub depending
Yes.
on what issue it is, for sure. Yeah, or to the engineers or whatever they need.
Mm-hmm.
Not always, but if there is a specific question, then
Yeah.
they would do it.
Now that you mentioned engineers, I wanted to ask you about, because you said you had a degree in architecture engineering.
That's what it was called.
So
yes.
so
Mhm.
what does that mean?
Well, it's a little bit different in Germany for especially smaller projects. You basically also act as the GC. That was the degree. It was architectural engineering degree. It was a 5-year degree.
Yeah.
So you would be Diplom-Ingenieur Architektin. So
Yeah.
that's what that was, because it's very construction heavy. So I think that's why. But it wouldn't be an engineer like in the sense that you would be a structural engineer or
Right.
anything
That's
like
what
that.
that's what
I
I
want
wanted
an
to know, 'cause
engineer
I thought
for-
you were a mechanical, electrical, plumbing, civil, structural, and architect
No,
in one person.
it wouldn't. But architects in Germany will get bids from subs, and you can vet them, and you can read through the documentation, and you can basically run the entire job site. They have much more responsibility than we do here.
Mm-hmm.
So here you give that to the GC. They are building it. But there you can actually act as the GC essentially too. So it's a completely different process.
Nice. What advice will you give to someone, immigrant architect, and they're here and they're listening like, oh, I wanna do what she did. I wanna have my own firm, but they're scared. They don't know what to do. What advice will you give them?
Well, if they want their own firm, that's great. It's a good country to have your own firm, right? It's
Yeah.
pretty good. Well, I would say that you never stop learning. You need to learn a lot of stuff. So I'm still learning. So that's really good to have a growth mindset, to always learn, to be willing to learn. Like with architects, I don't think it ever stops. There are always new
Right.
means and methods and materials and ways to do things and new codes. And so that's really, really important to
Nice.
understand that you would constantly learn. And then you either have to meet the educational requirements. So to have your own firm, you need to be a licensed architect. And then you need to transfer either your degree from abroad, or you can do your education in the United States, and that's really all that you need, and some grit, I guess.
Yeah.
It's hard in the
Yeah.
beginning to find clients
Yeah,
and to
and I think
get
that
work.
getting license, it's
Mhm.
easier now.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, because
They change it all the time.
they had we talk about Allah, who we
Mhm.
actually I had a podcast with him. I think it was before this one.
Okay.
Yeah, I had him a second time not too long ago, and he started a program during architecture school.
Mhm.
So when he graduated, he was already a licensed architect. He started during school.
Yes, you can do that, but he
Yeah.
studied here, so that
Yes.
wouldn't work if you come, with a degree from abroad. But yes, they can do that now.
Because before you had to do IDP and like 800 hours just to sit for the test after graduation.
He still needs, though, right? He still needs
I
the
don't
practice
know.
part to be licensed. I think
don't
they
know.
still need to fill out the whatever hours.
Yeah.
I think that's still a requirement. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you can test before you have them.
Nice.
Yeah, before I think, you're right. You had to fulfill your hours and then you could sit for
Yeah,
the
I mean,
tests.
that's
Yeah.
at least what I had to do.
Yeah. And also you had to have your degree before you could do the hours. And then so so now they can do it earlier. Yeah. Definitely.
Cool. All right. My last question for you is, do you have a question for me?
Do I have a question for
Yeah.
you? Yes, I have a question about this board.
Okay.
I want to ask you really nice sketches.
Yes.
And do you still get to do them? And
Sketches?
Yes, sketches and design.
Oh, yeah.
And how do you feel about it? What intrigues you to do a good design, or why do you like designing?
Yeah. So one of the things that I look at about any design, to me, proportions are very important. So
It's good.
the style could be any style, but proportions are just, they have to be good proportions. You have to. And I don't even know how to explain it. It's just when I see it, I'm like, no, that needs to
You
be
have a
here.
good eye.
Yeah, I'm like, just a little bit here, or it's just, it doesn't feel right, and I don't know how to explain it. And sometimes I see projects that everything looks great materials, but the proportions are not right. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they missed out opportunity. And it's just in my mind. So I focus a lot on proportions. Proportions for everything. How I'm laid out the paper, the sheet, how materials come together, spaces. Because there is a whole story in proportions. It's already responding to something. If it's a floor plan, the use, how to use it, the circulation, like it needs to respond to that.
Yeah.
So proportions are a big one. The other thing that I like about designing is that long time ago, maybe 5-10 years ago, I don't remember, I really decided that architecture is a human experience of space, and it's a brain experience in space. It's not the walls, the roof. That is just the scenario. That's kind of the container, but it's a human experience in space. That's architecture. And that is experience happening in the empty void space, but architecture is what gives definition and proportion to those spaces and relationships, and windows so connect with outside. All those little things create the experience. So I started looking at things more from that way. Like, I'm not designing this object. Is what the object, the experience that this object is going to create. So I like to do that, and I sketch a lot, but my sketches are not pretty.
You think?
Frank Gehry is like, but that's all I need. I don't try to make them pretty. I just know,
because you think, well,
I think, and I know these lines, and I try to get the proportions
sketches,
and things like, got it, and I can jump to modeling already, because I used to, I learned modeling early on, so I'm pretty good with SketchUp, and I can quickly put the ideas there and start testing them. That's the other thing I realize sometimes, that, let's say I need to design something and I need to show something in 2 weeks. So plan the thing in my mind, and when do I start, right? And sometimes I think, the more time I spend with the problem, the more I evolve and solve the problem. So, okay, what is it? And do something, and then check it again, and maybe the next day try something else. But sometimes I just wait until the last minute, because, there is something about pressure. That sometimes under pressure, you do things that
It wouldn't otherwise, huh?
Right, you
Yeah.
wouldn't do it, and sometimes they're great.
Yeah,
It's not about time. It's like sometimes you just know.
But
what to
you
do.
also festered these ideas in your head for 2 weeks. So it's
Oh,
not that
yes.
you have thought about it. You just didn't put anything to paper.
Well,
so.
and the other conclusion that I got was, honestly, was architects. Our project is doing the thing. It's not this, like every project is like a picture of where you are in your process and evolution, because you have an idea here and then you apply the idea to another project, and then you stop doing some that didn't work, and then you start evolve the idea to make it better and details, and you start like kind of having your toolkit,
Yeah.
and you just keep it, making that toolkit better, and the projects are just like pictures of that process.
Pictures of
Yeah.
the projects, yeah.
Yeah, when you were in that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
good.
Yeah, that's that's my answer.
Well, excellent. Very good answer. Great.
Cool. All right, Kristina, thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you. Yeah.
I'm really excited that you were here today, and really enjoyed the conversation, and I look forward to staying in touch and
Me too.
see
Yeah.
if we can work together one day.
Definitely. It would be nice. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you for listening to the Power of Design podcast. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review if you like this content, and find us online at thepowerofdesignpodcast.com. I invite you to join my mission to become a better version of yourself through the power of design.